You are on HOA Justice Stories. I walked into the management lobby with proof. Karen pointed at a charity donation pile and yelled that something vanished and therefore I did it. You are not going to pretend the rule is optional, she said, jabbing her finger at the open package locker door behind me. I stood in the Copper Creek Estates HOA parking area in Albuquerque, New Mexico, holding my tabbed binder and staring at Evelyn Reed, the neighborhood communications lead, who had just accused me of forcing open locker 17. The metal door hung ajar, the latch clearly broken, and she had already decided I was the thief. Behind her, 3 neighbors slowed their walk to watch. My field service engineer job kept me on the road most days, which meant I was never around to defend myself when rumors started, and Evelyn knew it. She wore her blue trench coat like armor and carried a stack of orange warning tags, as if she had the authority to sticker anything in sight. "I need to see what is missing," Evelyn said, louder now so the neighbors could hear. "You were the last one here according to the camera log, and now the locker is forced." "I was not the last one here," I said. "I picked up my package yesterday afternoon and the door was fine." "Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth," she said, pulling out her phone and waving it around like she had messages proving it. She always said that. She controlled the neighborhood communication portal and she loved reminding everyone that her version was the official version. The charity donation jar for the local food bank had been sitting in the clubhouse lobby for 2 weeks, and yesterday it vanished. Now she was connecting dots that did not exist, and she was doing it in front of an audience. I opened my binder and flipped to the delivery confirmation I had printed that morning. The timestamp showed 3:47 p.m., and the photo showed the locker door closed and latched. I handed it to her. She glanced at it, then shoved it back. "This does not prove anything," she said. "You could have come back later. The camera log you just mentioned shows I left at 3:50 and did not come back," I said. She ignored me and turned to the neighbors. "He has been difficult since he moved in," she announced, "always questioning the rules, always finding loopholes. Now we have a theft problem and he is the common factor." One of the neighbors, an older man in a gray hoodie, frowned but said nothing. The other 2 exchanged glances. Evelyn was planting the seed, and I could feel it taking root. My job kept me traveling to job sites across the state, fixing industrial equipment in the field, and the last thing I needed was my own neighborhood turning into a hostile zone. Sleep was already hard to come by with the constant notices and demands Evelyn sent through the portal. Now she was escalating to public accusations. "I am requesting the full camera footage," I said. "If the locker was forced, it happened after I left. You signed the covenants, now you live the covenants," Evelyn said, her catchphrase rolling out smoothly. "The covenants say I can inspect any common area, and that includes your locker space. Open it." "I already did," I said. "It is empty except for my own packages." "Then you will not mind if I verify," she said, stepping closer. She pulled out a bright orange cone from her car and set it down next to the locker cluster like she owned the space. It was one of her favorite theatrics, marking territory with cones and caution tape as if she were site management. She was not. She was the communications lead, which meant she ran the email blasts and the neighborhood app, but she acted like she ran enforcement too. "The locker inspections are done by management, not by board members," I said. "You know that." "Management is not here, and I am," she said. She pulled out one of her orange tags and slapped it on my locker door even though my locker was not the one that was broken. The tag had a printed form on it with blank spaces, no readable details, just her way of marking me as the problem. She had done this before, tagging cars she claimed were parked wrong, tagging trash cans she said were out too early, tagging anything she wanted to create a paper trail against someone. I pulled out my phone and took a photo of the tag, then a photo of the broken locker door next to mine. Evelyn saw me and stepped in front of the camera. "You are not going to create a narrative," she said. "I am documenting what is happening," I said. She leaned in closer, lowering her voice so only I could hear. "I am going to blast the neighborhood chat tonight," she said. "Everyone will know you are under investigation for theft. You think your little binder is going to save you? I control the information, and by tomorrow morning, you will be the pariah." That was the threat, clear and direct. She was going to destroy my reputation in the neighborhood by spreading the accusation before I had a chance to respond. The neighborhood chat was her domain. She posted constantly, and everyone read it because that was where you found out about pool closures, towing schedules, and rule changes. If she said I was a thief, it would stick. "I need to file a dispute," I said. "You can file whatever you want," she said, straightening up and speaking loudly again for the neighbors. "The portal never received your appeal even though it did." That was her favorite lie. She would claim submissions were never received, then delete the proof. I had learned to screenshot everything, but it did not matter if she controlled the narrative. I walked back to my unit and sat down at my kitchen table. The binder was already thick with printed emails, policy excerpts, and delivery confirmations. I added the new photos and checked the neighborhood app. Evelyn had not posted yet, but I knew it was coming. I opened my email and found the message I had sent to the management company 2 weeks ago, requesting the full camera audit log for the package locker area. They had confirmed receipt but had not sent the log yet. I sent a follow-up, marking it urgent. Then I called the management office. The receptionist, Dana, answered on the third ring. Dana was always polite but exhausted. She had been fielding Evelyn's demands for months, and I could hear it in her voice every time. "I need the camera log for the package lockers," I said. "Evelyn is accusing me of forcing a locker and stealing charity donations." "She already called us about that," Donna said. "She wants us to issue a violation notice and schedule a hearing." "Did she mention that the locker was already broken when I got there yesterday?" I said. "She said you forced it," Dana replied. "She is insisting we act immediately." "I have a delivery photo showing the locker was intact when I left," I said. "I need the full footage so I can prove I am not involved." "I will put in the request," Dana said. "It might take a few days." "I do not have a few days," I said. "She is planning to blast the neighborhood chat tonight." Dana sighed. "I will see what I can do," she said, and hung up. I went back to my laptop and logged into the HOA portal. Evelyn had already posted a new thread titled "Locker Security Concerns." She had not named me yet, but the wording was close. She described a resident who had been seen near the lockers before the damage was discovered, and she encouraged neighbors to report any suspicious activity. The replies were already rolling in. Someone asked if the police had been called. Someone else suggested installing better cameras. A third person said they had noticed their own packages arriving late recently. I drafted a reply but did not post it yet. Responding too quickly would look defensive, and Evelyn would use it against me. Instead, I went back through my delivery records and found the tracking number for the package I had picked up yesterday. The carrier was a regional service that used handheld scanners with GPS timestamps. I called their support line and requested a copy of the delivery confirmation with the full metadata. They said it would take 24 to 48 hours. That was too slow. The damage was happening now. I grabbed my keys and drove to the clubhouse. The donation jar had been sitting on the front desk, a clear plastic container with a handwritten label that said, "Food Bank Drive." I had dropped a 20 in it last week, and I remembered seeing at least $60 or $70 in bills and change. Now it was gone, and Evelyn was claiming I had something to do with it. The clubhouse was unlocked. The front desk was empty, but the camera in the corner was active. A small black dome mounted near the ceiling. I walked up to the desk and looked at the spot where the jar had been. There was a faint ring in the dust, proof that something had sat there for a while. I pulled out my phone and took a photo, then noticed something else. A small flashlight was sitting on the corner of the desk, the kind with a focused beam that you could point at a camera lens to create a glare. I picked it up and turned it over. No markings, no owner label, just a cheap plastic flashlight. I heard the front door open behind me. I turned and saw Evelyn walking in, and she was not alone. She had brought 2 neighbors with her, the same ones who had been watching earlier. She saw me holding the flashlight and stopped. "What are you doing in here?" she said. "Looking at the space where the jar was," I said. "Same as you." "You are not supposed to be in here unsupervised," she said, stepping closer. She pulled out her phone and started recording. She was documenting me now, flipping the script. "The clubhouse is open to all residents," I said. "The rules say so." "Not when there is an active investigation," she said. "You need to leave." "There is no investigation," I said. "You accused me without evidence, and now you are trying to make it stick." She moved to block the door. The neighbors stayed behind her, silent but present. Evelyn was building her case in real time, and she wanted witnesses to say I had been acting suspicious in the clubhouse. I walked past her and out the door. She followed me into the parking lot, still recording. "You cannot just walk away," she said. "I am going home," I said. "If you want to continue this, file a formal complaint with management." "I already did," she said, "and I submitted a request to have your access card deactivated until this is resolved." That was escalation number 1. If she got my access card shut off, I would not be able to get into the clubhouse, the gym, the pool, or the package locker area. It would turn my life into a logistical nightmare, especially with my work schedule. I drove back to my unit and checked my email. Management had replied. They said they were reviewing Evelyn's complaint and would respond within 5 business days. 5 days. That was more than enough time for her to poison the entire neighborhood against me. I opened the neighborhood app again. Evelyn had posted an update. She had not named me yet, but she had posted a photo of the broken locker door and a photo of the empty spot on the clubhouse desk where the jar had been. The comments were worse now. Someone said they had seen me near the clubhouse late at night last week. Someone else said I always looked suspicious. A third person suggested the HOA hire private security. I took a screenshot of every comment, every timestamp, every username. Then I drafted an email to the entire board, not just management. I attached the delivery confirmation, the photos I had taken, and a timeline showing I had been at work during the hours when the jar must have been taken. I explained that the locker door was already damaged when I arrived, and I requested the full camera footage. I hit send and waited. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. It was a reply from the board president, a retired accountant named Gerald. He said he had forwarded my email to management and asked me to be patient. He also said Evelyn had the authority to act on security concerns and that I should cooperate with her requests. That was not good enough. I called Dana again. "Did you get my email?" I said. "I did," Donna said. "I am pulling the footage now, but it is going to take some time. The system archives by week, and I have to request each file individually." "How much time?" I said. "Maybe tomorrow morning," she said. "I am doing this as fast as I can." "Evelyn is about to post my name in the neighborhood chat," I said. "If that happens, I am going to have a mob outside my door." "I understand," Dana said. "I will do what I can." She hung up. I sat down and opened the binder again. I needed more than the delivery confirmation. I needed something that would force immediate action, something Evelyn could not dismiss or bury. I thought about the flashlight. It was sitting on my counter now, a small piece of evidence that did not make sense unless someone was trying to block a camera. I thought about the orange tags Evelyn carried around, the ones with the printed forms. I thought about her phone, the way she waved it around claiming she had proof. Then it hit me. Evelyn had been posting updates all day, but she had not posted any actual evidence. No photos of me near the broken locker. No camera stills showing me in the clubhouse at the wrong time. She was bluffing, and she was using her control of the portal to make the bluff work. I logged into the HOA portal and navigated to the message archive. The system kept a full log of every post, every edit, every deletion. It was buried in the settings menu, a feature most residents did not know existed. I scrolled back 2 weeks and started looking for patterns. There. Evelyn had posted a complaint about a different resident 3 weeks ago, claiming they had violated the parking rules. The post had been edited twice, and the original version was still visible in the archive. In the original version, she had accused the resident of blocking a fire lane. In the edited version, she had changed it to blocking a guest spot. The camera timestamp in the photo did not match either claim. She had used the same photo twice, just cropped differently. I took a screenshot of the archive page, then kept scrolling. She had done it again a month ago, posting a noise complaint with a photo that was actually from a different week. She was recycling evidence, altering timestamps, and using her access to the portal to cover her tracks. I drafted a new email, this time directly to Gerald. I attached the archive screenshots and explained what I had found. I said Evelyn was fabricating violations and that the charity jar theft was following the same pattern. I asked for an emergency board review and a suspension of her portal access until the investigation was complete. I hit send and waited. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Gerald. "I need you to come to the management office tomorrow morning at 9, he said. "Bring everything you have." "Will Evelyn be there?" I said. "She will," he said. "And so will Dana. We are going to sort this out." I hung up and checked the neighborhood app one more time. Evelyn had posted again, and this time she had named me. She said I was being investigated for theft and vandalism, and she encouraged neighbors to avoid contact with me until the matter was resolved. The comments exploded. Someone said they were locking their doors. Someone else said they were reporting me to the police. I took another screenshot, added it to the binder, and tried to sleep. It did not work. The next morning, I arrived at the management office 10 minutes early. Dana was at the front desk and she looked more exhausted than usual. She handed me a visitor log and asked me to sign in. I did, then sat down in the waiting area. The office was small, just a desk, a few chairs, and a door leading to the back offices. The walls were covered with framed copies of the HOA covenants and a map of the neighborhood. Gerald arrived at 9 exactly. He was a tall man in his 60s with gray hair and a permanent frown. He shook my hand and gestured toward the back. We walked into a small conference room with a table, 4 chairs, and a laptop connected to a projector. "Evelyn is on her way," Gerald said. "She is bringing her own documentation." Dana came in and set a folder on the table. "Camera logs," she said. "I pulled everything from the past 2 weeks." "Thank you," Gerald said. He opened the folder and started flipping through the printouts. Evelyn walked in 5 minutes later. She was carrying her stack of orange tags, a clipboard with more printed forms, and her phone. She sat down across from me and did not make eye contact. "Let us start with the locker," Gerald said. "Evelyn, you filed a complaint stating that this resident forced open locker 17 and may have stolen items from the clubhouse. Walk me through your evidence." Evelyn pulled out her phone and opened the neighborhood app. He was seen near the lockers on Tuesday afternoon, she said. The locker was found damaged on Wednesday morning. The timeline matches. The locker was already damaged when I arrived on Tuesday, I said. I have a delivery photo showing it was intact when I left. That does not prove anything, Evelyn said. You could have come back. Dana, do we have footage of the locker area? Gerald said. Dana nodded and opened her laptop. She pulled up a video file and hit play. The screen showed the locker area from a camera mounted on the clubhouse wall. The timestamp read Tuesday, 3:45 p.m. I appeared on screen, walked to my locker, opened it, retrieved a package, closed the door and left. The locker door next to mine, number 17, was closed and latched. I left the frame at 3:50 p.m. Dana fast-forwarded. At 11:22 p.m., a figure appeared on screen. The person was wearing a hood and carrying a bag. They walked up to locker 17, used a key, opened the door, and removed something from inside. Then they tried to close the door, but the latch did not catch. They pushed it again, harder, and the latch broke. The person left the frame at 11:26 p.m. Gerald paused the video. That is not him, he said, pointing at the screen. Evelyn leaned forward. You cannot see the face, she said. It could be anyone. Dana rewound the video and zoomed in. The person on screen was holding a key ring, and the keys were visible. There were 4 keys on the ring, all identical brass keys with square heads. How many locker keys do residents get? Gerald asked. 1 per unit, Dana said. How many keys are on that ring? Gerald said. 4, Dana said. I only have 1 locker key, I said, pulling out my key ring. I held it up. 1 key attached to my car key and my unit key. Evelyn, how many locker keys do you have? Gerald asked. Evelyn did not answer. She stared at the screen, her face pale. Gerald opened the folder Dana had brought and pulled out another sheet. This is the access log for the clubhouse, he said. It shows every time a key card or master key is used. On Tuesday night at 11:15 p.m., a master key was used to enter the clubhouse. The key is registered to you, Evelyn. Evelyn grabbed her clipboard and flipped through the forms. That is a mistake, she said. I was not there. The camera log shows someone entering the clubhouse at 11:16 p.m., Gerald said. Dana, can you pull that footage? Dana nodded and opened another file. The screen showed the clubhouse front desk. At 11:16 p.m., the same hooded figure from the locker video walked in. They went straight to the desk, picked up the donation jar, and placed it in the bag they were carrying. Then they pulled out the small flashlight I had seen yesterday and pointed it at the camera, creating a glare that washed out the rest of the footage. Gerald paused the video again. That flashlight, he said, turning to me. Where is it now? I found it on the desk yesterday, I said. Evelyn saw me pick it up. Evelyn stood up. This is fabricated, she said. Someone is setting me up. Gerald held up a hand. Sit down, he said. His voice was calm but firm. Evelyn sat. Dana pulled up another file. This is the message log from the neighborhood portal, she said. It shows every post, every edit, and every deletion. Over the past 6 months, Evelyn has edited or deleted over 40 posts. Most of them were complaints against specific residents. In several cases, she altered timestamps or reused photos to support claims that were not accurate. She pulled up one of the screenshots I had sent. This post was edited 3 times, Dana said. The original version accused a resident of blocking a fire lane at 6:00 p.m. The edited version changed the time to 8:00 p.m. and changed the location to a guest spot. The photo was taken at 4:30 p.m. and was used in 2 other complaints. Evelyn tried to interrupt, but Gerald cut her off. "We are not done," he said. Dana kept going. 2 weeks ago, a resident filed an appeal through the portal, disputing a parking violation. The portal log shows the appeal was received and timestamped. Evelyn marked the appeal as not received and issued a second notice. When the resident complained, Evelyn claimed the portal had a technical issue. The log shows no technical issues during that period. Gerald turned to Evelyn. "You have been fabricating violations, altering records, and using your access to the portal to target residents," he said. "And now, we have video evidence showing you stealing from the clubhouse and vandalizing common property." Evelyn stood up again. "I want a lawyer," she said. "You can contact a lawyer," Gerald said. "But right now we are suspending your access to the portal, your master keys, and your role as communications lead. Effective immediately." Evelyn grabbed her clipboard and her phone and walked out. She did not say another word. Gerald turned to me. "I apologize," he said. "This should never have happened." "I just want the record corrected," I said. "Dana will post a retraction in the neighborhood app today," Gerald said. "We will also be sending a formal notice to all residents explaining that the accusations against you were unfounded and that the matter has been resolved." "What about the donation jar?" I said. "We will be filing a police report," Gerald said. "The footage is clear enough for charges." I walked out of the management office and sat in my car for a minute. My phone buzzed. It was an email from Dana with the subject line, "Neighborhood Update." I opened it. The message said that due to policy violations, Evelyn Reed had been removed from her role as communications lead, and that all pending complaints filed by her were under review. The message also included a direct apology to me and a correction of the theft accusation. I checked the neighborhood app. The post was already live, pinned to the top of the feed. The comments were rolling in, most of them apologizing or expressing shock. A few people said they had suspected something was off, but did not want to speak up. I drove home and collapsed on my couch. My phone buzzed again. It was Gerald. "One more thing," he said. "The board is meeting tonight to discuss long-term changes. We are implementing a new policy requiring all enforcement actions to go through management first. No board member will have unilateral authority to issue violations or access resident records. We are also adding an independent audit of the portal to make sure this does not happen again." "Thank you," I said. "And we are going to require all communication from board members to residents to go through official channels in writing," he said. "No more personal accusations. No more public shaming." That evening, I got a knock on my door. It was Dana. She handed me an envelope. "This is from management," she said. "It is a formal letter documenting the resolution and confirming that no violations were issued against you. You might want to keep it in case anything else comes up." I opened the envelope. The letter was 2 pages, printed on HOA letterhead, and signed by Gerald and the property manager. It outlined everything that had happened, confirmed that the accusations were false, and stated that Evelyn Reed was no longer authorized to represent the HOA in any capacity. The letter also included a line I had not expected. "Management has taken over all enforcement decisions and removed discretionary authority from volunteer board positions." That was it. That was the HOA consequence. Management takes over enforcement decisions and removes Karen's discretion. Exactly what I needed. If you are enjoying this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more HOA nightmare tales. I kept reading. The second page included another line. "Miss Reed is required to communicate only in writing going forward, and all messages must be submitted through the management portal for review." That was the Karen consequence. She was muzzled, forced to go through official channels. No more neighborhood chat blasts, No more public accusations. A week later, I got another email from Dana. The subject line said Records Request Response. I opened it. Attached was a full audit log of the neighborhood portal, showing every post Evelyn had made, every edit, every deletion. The log also included message threads between Evelyn and other board members where she had coordinated complaints and discussed targeting specific residents. One thread stood out. It was from 2 months ago, and Evelyn had written, "Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth." If we control the narrative, we control the outcome. That was her own catchphrase, the thing she said to dismiss evidence, and she had put it in writing. It was right there in the message thread, proof that she had been coordinating to manipulate records. The twist was complete. Her own words had destroyed her. I forwarded the audit log to Gerald with a short note. "I am submitting a formal demand for preservation of records to ensure this behavior is documented and cannot be repeated." That was the payback vector, a demand for preservation of records that freezes her delete tricks. She could not bury this anymore. Gerald replied within an hour. He said the board had already discussed the audit and that they were taking additional steps. Evelyn had been asked to resign from the board entirely, and the board was recommending that the HOA adopt a new policy requiring background checks and training for all board members. 2 weeks later, I was walking to my car when I saw Evelyn near the mailbox cluster. She was pulling mail from her box, and she saw me at the same time. She froze. I walked past her without saying anything. She opened her mouth like she was going to speak, then closed it. She had been told to communicate only in writing, and she was actually following the rule. A neighbor, the older man in the gray hoodie who had watched the first confrontation, walked up to the mailbox cluster. He nodded at me, then looked at Evelyn. "I heard what happened," he said to her. "That was not right, what you did." Evelyn did not reply. She grabbed her mail and walked away quickly, her head down. That was the funny karma beat. She had tried to shame me publicly, and now she was the one being avoided. The same neighbors who had believed her accusations were now fact-checking her instantly and calling her out. A month later, I got a notice from the Albuquerque Police Department. They had filed charges against Evelyn for theft and vandalism based on the camera footage. The notice included a case number and a court date. I was listed as a witness. I showed up to the hearing. Evelyn was there with a lawyer. The prosecutor played the footage from the locker area and the clubhouse. The lawyer tried to argue that the footage was not clear enough to identify Evelyn, but the prosecutor pulled up the access log and the key registry. The master key used that night was registered to Evelyn, and the timestamp matched. The lawyer had no response. The judge asked Evelyn if she wanted to make a statement. She stood up and said she had made a mistake and that she was sorry. The judge was not impressed. He issued a fine and probation, and he ordered her to pay restitution for the stolen donations and the damaged locker. I left the courthouse and drove back to Copper Creek Estates. The neighborhood felt different now, quieter. The app had fewer posts, and the ones that did appear were about pool hours and landscaping schedules. No more accusations, no more drama. Dana called me a few days later. She said management had finished the full audit of the portal and that they had found more issues. Evelyn had been targeting residents who questioned her decisions, and she had been using the portal to bury complaints against her friends. The board had voted to implement a full transparency policy, requiring all enforcement actions to be posted publicly with timestamps and documentation. I went back to work, driving across New Mexico fixing industrial equipment and sleeping better at night. The HOA was still the HOA, with all its petty rules and constant maintenance demands, but it was no longer a weapon. The process had been exhausted, the records had been preserved, and the consequences had landed exactly where they belonged. The package locker cluster got a new lock system, and the clubhouse desk got a better camera. The donation jar came back, now secured with a cable lock, and monitored by 2 cameras instead of 1. The neighbors who had believed Evelyn started saying hello again, and a few of them apologized directly. I kept the binder, though, just in case. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.